welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Jsmokin Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Jsmokin Jim Frazier.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM-Enians. The nightly podcasts are Hallis Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
Oh yeah, you know it. It's time. You know what time it is? It's time for Sports Corner with me, Ralph Williams, and Jsmokin Jim Frazier. All right, right now, yes indeed, that's some Van Halen for you, and it's great to have you here today for the Sports Corner Show. My name is Ralph Williams, along with Jsmokin Jim Frazier. Jsmokin Jim, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. Ready for this one, buddy.
Oh, you know it, man. You know it. And Jsmokin Jim joins us by phone, and as you see on your screen there, and he's every week coming up today at right after we're done with our opening monologue here. We are going to have Robert Butler, who covers the Tennessee Titans, and he does a podcast called The Sports Scope. And it's on every single night at 8 o'clock. And I've been on the show, and he's going to talk with us about the Tennessee Titans. And then at 4:30, we have Keith Engle will join us from TGI Sports to talk about the following: the New York Jets, the New York Giants, and the New England Patriots. We're going to talk about those three teams with him. And then at 5 o'clock, Leo Haggerty will join us to talk about the to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he is from Amped Up Sports. And we're going to have a lot of guys on here in the coming weeks from Amped Up Sports. Next week, our show will be on Thursday because I'm I'm going to Ocean City, Maryland, for a trip coming up this Thursday, and I won't be back until Tuesday evening. So there will be no Sports Corner then, but we will have it due to our draft schedule. We will have the show Thursday afternoon, 4 to 6 p.m. Our guest will be JT Wyatt from the who covers the Carolina Panthers, and he has a podcast called the Southern Fried Podcast. So we're a sports podcast. So we're going to have him on to talk with us about the Carolina Panthers. And then I'm working on Harry the Greek to come on to talk about the Chicago Bears. And also I'm working on a gentleman from Amped Up Sports to talk about the Buffalo Bills. So our 32-team draft coverage is going to be here on the Sports Corner Show with me, Ralph Williams, Jsmokin Jim Frazier. All right, let's go to the comments section real quick. Robert Butler's trying to get on the air. As soon as he gets on, we'll get him here. I see him working to get on the air. All right, Cyberuski says, Ralph, welcome, Cyberuski. And then we have a question for Ralph. Do you plan on writing a book? Cyberuski, I'm going to put it to you this way. I'm not a writer, so I wouldn't know what to do to write a book. I'd have to have someone do it for me. and I'm not going to pay that kind of money to have someone do it for me. I probably should write a book about myself, being a handicapped person doing this kind of work and things like that. Smoke and Jim, we're going to get started with our opening, and we have some breaking news about a former Steeler today that was just signed by the Miami Dolphins, and I will tell you about that coming up. And he wasn't anybody of any substance. He was a number 1 draft pick. That's the only hint I'm going to give you. All right, but my rant today is real simple. The Steelers blew it again and again and again and again. Now, we still don't have a quarterback other than Mason Rudolph. Okay? We need to do something here. The Steelers need to make a move. They either need to go into the draft and get a quarterback, all right? Or what they need to do is sign somebody like a Joe Flacco or Gardner Minshew. I don't give a crap who you bring in here as long as you get somebody else in here. Okay? All right? And get yourself a quarterback in the draft of some substance. If someone's available in the first round, get him. All right? It's that simple. Okay? It's not hard, Steelers. It's simple. Right, Smokin' Jim? It's now time for Smokin' Jim's wisdom.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I can't add anything to it. You nailed it perfectly, but I just got a question for my rant is who do you think will be signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers, or do you think that the opening day starter will be Mason Rudolph?
Well, let me say this. Russell Wilson's still sitting out there. We may have to go with him. He was 500 this year, Smokin' Jim. At least he didn't have a losing record. We're stuck with him possibly, okay? If not, Joe Flacco wouldn't be a bad idea to hold the fort down. And if that's not the case, then yes, go with Mason Rudolph. We won with him last year. We won 3 games. So, I mean, at the time when we needed to win. So, Mason Rudolph, if given the opportunity with this offense, I don't see any problems. I would think that could happen. But go ahead.
No, that was it. That was it. My rant was pretty much the same as yours, and I couldn't add anything to it. You nailed it, brother.
All right. Smokin' Jim and everyone out there today, former Steeler number 1 draft pick Artie Burns was signed by the Miami Dolphins. Artie Burns signed by the Miami Dolphins. Your thoughts, Smokin' Jim?
Well, I said he'd be a bust when they drafted him. He only played 65% of the snaps his senior year at Miami. He was extremely raw. He never really learned how to play the cornerback position, but people keep taking a chance on him because he was a track All-American and he had world-class speed. But in terms of playing football, I said on draft day he'd be a bust, and he has been and will continue to be a bust.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing that really bothered me about that pick, Smokin' Jim, was the fact that when they interviewed Kevin Colbert, and I don't know if you remember this, but I do. When they interviewed Kevin Colbert at the time, they said, why did you draft Artie Burns? He said, because we like the way he played against Pitt.
Is that right? Wow.
That was the statement from Kevin Colbert. Because believe me, you don't forget bad picks like that when statements are made by the Steelers. Trust me when I tell you that. You know what I mean? So. All right, Smokin' Jim, right now until Robert Butler gets on the air here. He's having some tech issues, but as soon as he gets rolling, we're going to get him on the air here. Okay, so we're going to talk today position by position based on what some of the publications are going. But first, we got to pay a couple bills here, Smokin' Jim. And let's do that right now. And let's see here. Whoops. I got to look for it. There it is. All right. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And this segment here coming up shortly here with Robert Butler. We'll have a sponsor. We have a sponsor for that segment today. But our studio sponsors, we're live here at Studios 808, the new Studio 808 in the Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh here, and we're here all the time for that. Next week, if I have to stay down in Ocean City, Maryland, we will be broadcasting down in Ocean City, Maryland next week for this program. Now, that's not a guarantee, but we'll see. I may have to stay down there based on what I'm doing down there. All right. It may require me to stay another week. So, all right. All right. Quarterback, Smoking Jim. Let's take a look at a couple. Let's start off with Cam Ward. What's your thoughts on Cam Ward? Where do you think he goes?
I wouldn't take him in the 20th round. Years ago, they had 20 rounds of the draft. I think Rocky Bleier was an 18th or 20th round draft pick. In the 20th round, I wouldn't take Cam Ward. I think he's a flat-footed quarterback that couldn't lead silent prayer. And I think he's going to be a bust.
All right. Robert Butler's joining us from the Sports Scope. Robert, you know what? I'm not used to seeing you without your suit on. I mean, you always.
I'm at the day job.
The day job. You know what? I want to thank you for taking time off from your day job to be here on this program. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
having issues with the browser and everything and sound, but I got it squared away. I had to go through all my phone and do everything.
That's what's good about being a professional, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's
I like when you said here, Robert. What do you think?
It's nice, man. Oh, you're talking about your background?
Yeah. How do you like my new setup here? I just got this all switched around and have a new computer and everything. So it's looking pretty sharp here. So, you know. So.
You sound great, man. You sound great. That's a good microphone you got there.
Yeah, I got a Shure, one of the better brands other than Rhoda. But anyway, Robert, say hello to Smoking Jim Frazier on the phone.
Hey, Jim. Good to hear from you again. Good to talk to you again.
All right. Hey, man. Likewise, Robert. Looking forward to this, man.
Okay. Tennessee Titans here, Robert.
Yeah.
You cover them. And you have the Sports Scope show every night, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Tell us a little bit about what the Tennessee Titans may be up to in the draft and for free agency.
Well, they've added, obviously, your left tackle there. And they also added, was it Lather? J.C. Lather from used to play with the Browns, and he's 34, went to Detroit for a year. But these guys, I'm surprised you all who was it, Alan, what was his name, Jackson? Let him go there.
Oh, Dante Jackson, you mean?
Dante, yeah. And I was surprised y'all let him go. He's got an above average 67% blocking grade there from PFF. Looks like they're putting themselves in position to get Cam Ward. From everything I'm reading and hearing, he's the overwhelming favorite to go number one. And, I don't blame the general manager and Brian Callahan for wanting to do that, per se. The last coaching staff, I like Vrabel. I was thinking about this a few years ago. Tennessee had major offensive line problems. They tried to go cheap with that, right. And it came back and cost them the very next year. And, of course, then Miss Strunk there, the owner, decided to fire Vrabel. But I'm okay with that. I got to ask you guys, what do you think about losing a left tackle like that? I think he only missed, 2 games in his whole career. It's pretty consistent.
You mean Dan Moore. Yeah, Dan Moore.
Dan Moore, excuse me, yeah.
Yeah, well, Smoking Jim Frazier can give you a little bit of a synopsis on this. That's one of his favorite players, and he hated to see him go. And Smoking Jim, go ahead, talk to Robert about that.
Hey, Robert, I think it was the biggest mistake the Steelers could have made. This is a guy that started from game one, his rookie year. He comes out of Texas A&M. The guy got better and better each and every year, playing against the best, oppositions, maybe in NFL history, and Myles Garrett and, Hendrickson and all these guys, man. And he more than held his own. The Pittsburgh Steelers made mistakes because they always was looking to replace him. They drafted back-to-back drafts in the first round, a left tackle to take his place. Just think where the Pittsburgh Steelers could be if they would have drafted players for need and not tried to replace a left tackle who beat out those first-round draft choices. So I think you guys are getting a steal. You're getting Dan Moore in his prime. And I tell you what, he's a great guy in the locker room, and you're never going to hear any problems out of Dan Moore. He's going to be the foundation of your offensive line.
Yeah,
You
see,
know, Jim,
Robert,
it's funny. Go ahead, Ref. Go ahead.
yeah, see,
Yeah.
Robert, in this town, his nickname is Open Door Moore because he led the league this year in giving up sacks. So they called him Open
Okay.
Door Moore. All right. And some people, one of my co-hosts on the Sports Corner radio show, Luther Dupree, calls it Open Door Moore, no more, since he's gone. So, I mean, you know, and Smoking Jim and Luther have been battling it out back and forth on the show about Dan Moore. So, I mean, you know, but your thoughts, Robert, on Dan Moore, you know, acquiring him. And, you know, he is a gamer. He brings the lunch pail. I mean, he's one of them kind of guys, you know. So,
Yeah.
like Smoking Jim said, he was steady, stable. But, you know, I know he gave up some sacks. But, you know, it's not easy dealing with Myles Garrett. So, I mean, you know, and that's some of the sacks he gave up. So go ahead, Robert. What's your thoughts on
I was I did a lot of research on the guy. You know, he's got he being middle of the road for Tennessee right now is very good at left tackle. They've had bad left tackles. They used Latham there to move him from right to left. He's better suited for right tackle. They mean John Robertson, the former general manager, in the A.J. Brown trade a few years ago. They went out and took Nicholas Petit-Frere, third-round pick out of Ohio State. He's been pretty much a bust. He come back from injury. He has not played well. They would rather put Latham, who's better at right tackle, back to his natural position. But Tennessee, even in between times over the last few years, they've been terrible at that position, and they wanted to solidify. They're not going to take a number 1 overall pick at left tackle. So I'm okay with what I'm hearing about that. A lot of sites say, well, we're overpaying more. You're going to pay premium in free agency. I'm okay with that, particularly if you're going to go offensive line or defensive line, which we saw with Philadelphia there, how stacked they are at those positions. It's really these games are won in the trenches. I mean, sometimes we get away from that. You saw the Cincinnati stuff. But at the end of the day, you've got to win in the trenches. You got to at least be competitive in the trenches. And I feel like they'll be competitive in the trenches, which they have not over the last few years, although they've made some strides last year. So I like it. I don't care if they did slightly overpay.
Well, you know what, though, Robert? They're overpaying for free agents in the NFL anyway. I mean, you know, every position now, you know, like look at Cincinnati, like you mentioned. They pay T. Higgins and Jamar Chase all that money. So now everybody else, the ceiling is going to be higher for all those folks. And it's gotten so bad right now that the owners have gone to the NFL and asked for a quarterback salary cap, an actual quarterback salary cap.
Yeah.
To keep the ceiling from going up in prices and things like that for all these free agents. So, I mean, you know, you know, so it's getting tough out there, but, you know, Dan Moore is going to be cashing it in $82 million over the course of the contract. So we'll see what Dan Moore does there in Tennessee. But you know, here in Pittsburgh, he's known as Open Door Moore, and you guys can have him according to most people, except for Smoking Jim. You know what? Smoking Jim's part of his fan club. You know, he has a fan club. He has Dan Moore shirts and hats and, you know, and all that stuff. Right, Smoking Jim? Are you there?
I'm no fan. I'm unpartial. I'm biased.
I just
call it the way I see it.
I know.
Hey, Robert, why'd you guys ever give up on Derrick Henry?
Well, I mean, he's pushing 30 years old, heavy usage rate here. At that scheme, he done better than I thought he would do with that scheme there. Tennessee wanted to, you know, save the money, go young at that position. I know they got Tony Pollard, but that was basically what it was. I mean, you saw the usage rate here. He's a different animal, guys. I didn't expect what he did at Baltimore, but that's pretty much what it is. I mean, I thought Philadelphia overpaid Saquon Barkley last year. They had DeAndre Swift. So it just, you know, good blocking scheme really makes a big difference, you know.
Oh yeah, system does it too, Robert. You got to have the
Yeah,
right kind of offensive system. And let me say this: Saquon Barkley paid off, didn't he? Look what Philly
he
did. They
paid
won the
off
Super Bowl.
dividends. Yeah, yeah.
They won the Super Bowl, and I mean, so I can't say any more than that. I don't know where Philly's going to go this year without Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator. He's
Right.
got his hands full down in New Orleans, and we're going to have. I'm working on getting Ryan Neal on for our next show to talk from Amped Up Sports to talk about the New Orleans Saints and Kellen Moore, and part of our 32 team draft coverage. I'm trying to get somebody on here who covers all 32 teams. And last couple of weeks, we've had some great guests on here for that, and we're going to continue to do that. Wrestle Talk will return after WrestleMania. In fact, Smokin' Jim and I, date to be determined, we'll be having a post WrestleMania show where we're going to talk about the event of WrestleMania, and so we're going to be doing that as well. And later on, Smokin' Jim and I are going to cover. We were just starting to talk a little bit about that, Robert. But we're going position by position in the draft. We're going to start with quarterbacks, and I just got started with Cam Ward. Tennessee, I think, is looking to, or are they going to stay in that number one spot and actually get him, or are they going to try to go down and then try to accumulate some more draft picks and then maybe see if they can catch him then? What's your thoughts on this with Cam Ward?
Yeah, I think his name is Borghese, their general manager here. He's open to the idea of trading down. Adam Schefter put out something about the NFL the other day, yesterday, that this is the first time at this point before the draft, no teams have made trades for first round picks. So I don't know if it says the draft is bad or people's asking too much or people like where they're drafting at. My guess is, pending on something wild happening here, maybe after pro days coming up here in the next few weeks, I got a feeling they're going to stay there at one and pick Cam Ward. Now, I would like to, if they can get a king's ransom, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that, but we'll have to wait and see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Smokin' Jim, you have any further questions for Robert?
No, except for have you taken a look at Ward, and what's your feelings on the quarterback Ward, Robert?
Well, I mean, I think he's got good field vision. He's got good footwork. You think about it this way: this guy's got 4.5, 5 years of starting. I think he could potentially be a Jaden Daniels light type of player here. I say light. I don't think he has the ceiling of the Commanders' Jaden Daniels. Remember, they picked number 2 last year. Right quarterback, right system. They were in the NFC Championship game. I think he could be that. I really do. From every game I saw him, I like the way he keeps his eyes downfield. He's not looking to run. He's looking to run the throw. Kind of reminds me of Steve McNair a little bit, former Tennessee Titan from back in the day, good 20 years ago.
Let me ask you this. What's the, Robert, let me say, expectancy, and what is the life expectancy of Brian Callahan at this point? I mean, how many seasons are we looking at? Are they going to pull the plug after 2? Are they committed to him? What's the word here right now?
Well, everything I'm hearing, I think they like where he's going right now. This is a big season for him. I'm starting to hear some of the Fox Sports people saying that maybe Tennessee can win this division. I don't know. I mean, you look at Houston, they traded away Laramie Tunsil. I don't know what their plan is for left tackle. Right. They seem to like their young guys. They got a new offensive coordinator. I'm questioning the new head coach with Jacksonville. And now Daniel Jones is being brought in Indianapolis to compete with Anthony Richardson. So the division's wide open. Of course, I said this last year, they win 7 or 8 games, and then they let me down, made me look bad. But you got to look at Will Levis's turnovers. Tennessee was second, guys, in yards allowed in the NFL, only to Philadelphia. So they're not as bad as people as they see on the outside. Second defensive yards allowed. You got Levis turning the ball over, fumbling the snap, fumbling the ball once he snaps the ball, and not to count the actual turnovers. Plus, they've got a new who's it? Jim Fossil, the former Cowboys special teams coordinator. Yeah. So we had the worst special teams in the league last year too.
Yeah, he was one of the best, one of the better special teams coaches. Wasn't all that. He was a mediocre coach when he was with the Giants, but I mean, he did what he had to do there. So, but he's always been a good special teams coach. So, Yeah. All right.
Yeah, he's the son of John Fossil from the 2000 Giants. Yeah.
Right. All right.
Hey, Ralph, can I ask one quick question?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Hey, you guys had Mason Rudolph last year, and he kind of had an up and down career with the Steelers, and he had an up and down season with Tennessee. The Pittsburgh Steelers are considering making him the starter this year. If he is, do you think the Steelers can make the playoffs behind the Mason Rudolph?
I think he's a really good backup. He filled in at times well for Tennessee. I'm surprised they let him go, but that goes to show you they signed Brandon Allen from San Francisco with Will Levis. Yeah. That almost assures me they're going to go with the quarterback here. I don't think so, man. And not in that division. You guys got to be pretty upset if Mason Rudolph is your quarterback to start the season. I would say no at this point.
Well, you know what? We had a running back here once called the bus, but guess what? The Steelers missed the bus on the quarterback situation. They could have had Sam Darnold. They could have had a bunch of guys, and they just blew it. And now we're down to what they call the bottom of the barrel, more or less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no offense to Joe Flacco. He's a good, a reasonable quarterback. Minshew's done some things. No offense to them guys. But you know what? That's not what we want here in Pittsburgh. And that's what we deserve. We deserve a good quarterback, and a good quarterback's a key ingredient. And the Steelers don't, no plan. They didn't have a really good plan after Roethlisberger. They drafted Kenny Pickett, which was a bust. And now he's with his, third team. You know what I mean? So here we are, so the Steelers where they're at today, and it's their own fault. All right. Robert Butler's been brought to you by Alex's Flowers. Call Alex today, 412-661-6071 in Pittsburgh area, Western Pennsylvania. Alex offers delivery. He has all kinds of your flower needs for any kind of wedding, funeral, private party, private event, or just for your sweetheart. If you want to get your sweetheart some flowers, call today, 412-661-6071. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you and you heard it here on this program. All right, Robert, thank you for being part of the show. Head on back to your day job, and I'll be tuning in tonight at 8 o'clock. So
thank you. Thanks, guys. Have a good show.
Robert Butler from the Sports Scope, and he covers the Tennessee Titans, and he has a show on YouTube and Facebook every single weeknight, 8 o'clock p.m. Check in the Sports Scope with Robert Butler. You never know who he's going to have on. I've been on the show, so you never know. You know what I mean? So have yourself a great one. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate you. All right, that was Robert Butler from the Sports Scope. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on what he had to say in the Tennessee Titans?
I tell you what, man, Robert's always good, man. The Tennessee Titans, they made some good decisions in the offseason, especially bringing in the best left tackle in football in damn four. But I think that he nailed it when he said that anybody can win that division.
Yes.
And that is a little bit different than what the Pittsburgh Steelers are facing murderous row in their division. So
the Bengals,
it's wide open.
The Bengals with Higgins and Chase now with big contracts. Oh my gosh, this is it's going to be a disaster for the Steelers this year. I don't see them going past 9-8. I don't. I mean, who's your quarterback? Oh wait, who's your quarterback? I'm still looking for him. Oh, I don't see a quarterback for us. Oh, I'm sorry, Mason Rudolph. There we go. All right.
It's a little bit little bit too early to make predictions because you still have free agency. You don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I agree with that. But you don't know how the draft is going to turn out. You don't know who they may pick up after June 1st. I still say if the defense plays up to their potential and they can get a couple more defensive linemen in there, defense wins championships, man. So you go a long way with a great defense. It wasn't great last year, but it was paid like it was great.
Yeah, they just signed yesterday a couple of depth players. They got that guy from New England, and they signed that guy from Cleveland.
He's a bum. The guy from New England's a bum.
Oh.
I mean, they just can't get it right with the defense.
I know. I know they can't. Carl Dunbar, man, he should be fired.
You know? Why don't they just bring back Ziggy Hood or whatever? You know what I mean? They just can't get it right.
I was watching the Super Bowl on NFL Network when Ziggy Hood was the starter. I was like, oh, man, there's a blast from a blast, man. Jeez. Oh, my gosh. I couldn't believe it when I saw Ziggy Hood. All right, let's go to our next guest, Keith Engle. And we're going to be broadcasting live on Keith's TGI Sports Network. Keith is here to talk with us today about the New York Jets, Giants, and the New England Patriots.
Hello.
So it's part of our 32-team draft coverage right here on Sports Cornershow every Tuesday, 4 to 6 p.m. We're 2 hours until after WrestleMania, and after the draft, we will be doing 2-hour shows. After WrestleMania, we will be back with Wrestle Talk for post-WrestleMania, and then after the draft, we'll go back to our 1-hour segments unless otherwise noted. So just let everyone know programming changed in regards to Wrestle Talk. Keith, welcome to the program. How are you today? It's great to have you back.
Great to be here, Ralph. Smoking Jim, always good to be here. I didn't know I was following you, the best dressed man in podcasting.
Yeah, I know, man. He didn't have the suit on, man. Almost didn't recognize him. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah, he's a sharp dressed man. Say hello to Keith there, Smoking Jim.
My man Keith, what's happening, brother?
How you doing, buddy? Good to talk to you as always.
Yeah, Keith's always welcome on this program. And Keith, let's get started here. Which team you want to start with first? I'll let you go. Well, your favorite, the New England Patriots. Go ahead.
I'll start with the Patriots. The Patriots had a lot of money to spend in the offseason. They spent a lot of it. How well they did, we'll find out. They needed an edge rusher, and they definitely brought in some guys in general that were familiar with Mike Vrabel and Mike Vrabel's system. They addressed the offensive line a bit, the edge rusher situation, as I said.
Right.
The big issue still to be figured out here is still the offensive line. David Andrews retired. Come draft day, we're looking at needing wide receivers and offensive linemen, and I don't think this draft is really full of tackles specifically. Really, right. Yeah, it's not deep in that area.
No, it's not.
I do think that Will Campbell, unless Travis Hunter falls to number 4, which I don't think he will, the Patriots will take Will Campbell at that 4th spot. But all in all, I think it's been a good offseason so far for the Patriots outside of the skill position pickups or lack thereof. Guys that are familiar with Vrabel's system, guys that are going to know what he expects. And I expect this team to be improved from that standpoint, but I don't think they're done. Obviously, we got the draft ahead, and I think you could still see some moves with guys who are moved or traded or released here in the spring. So,
AC Knight, who's been on some commented on some of my shows and tunes into my stuff as well. I want to thank him for being part of the program. It's good to have you on the comments section there, AC Knight. Okay. Do you have any questions for Keith about the New England Patriots, Smoking Jim?
Yeah, just real quick, Keith. Mike Vrabel was a player who's known to play both ways. And if some reason Hunter falls to you at number 4, do you think that Vrabel will play him both ways or have a package for him for both offense and defense?
Yeah, great question. And I think that's one of the intriguing things about whoever gets Travis Hunter is I think it's how much he'll play both ways. I think he'll play both ways no matter where he ends up. New England specifically, he would help fill 2 needs. They need a cornerback, definitely still a top cornerback, and wide receivers. And I think you'll see them work him in. You're never going to see Travis Hunter play 100% both ways. Nobody can do that. Nobody can play, 120 to 150 snaps a game like he did in college, not in the NFL.
No.
He'll get beat to pulp. But you find packages where you can get him involved in the offense, and that's happened with other guys in the past, right? I mean, Charles Woodson a little bit, Deion Sanders a little bit, and I think you might even see it step up a little bit from those guys should they get Travis Hunter, and I think other teams are probably looking at it the same way. I mean, to me, if he falls to 4, and I'd be shocked if he did. He's the best player in the draft. But if somebody gets silly and lets him fall to 4, then the Patriots should be all over him. If not, it's going to be an offensive lineman, either Campbell or the kid from Missouri.
Oh yeah. All right. Keith, let's talk about the New York Jets or the Giants. Which one you want to start with first? Actually, New Jersey, I call them because they play at the Meadowlands there, at the East Rutherford, New Jersey. There, so
they do. The Bills have the only team in New York, as us people in New York know. I mean, I'm not a fan of any of those 3 teams, but they don't play in my state. These 2 teams, they are the New Jersey Giants and Jets. Look, they're 2 teams kind of. I mean. Look, the Giants don't have a quarterback. We'll start with the Giants, right? Still no quarterback. Right. They'll probably be better off if they lose the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes, if you will. I mean,
yes.
It's and again, you can speak to this as well, because I would think right now it's either the Vikings, the Steelers, or the Giants. They're going to end up with his services, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess, is up to interpretation. I don't think the distractions with Aaron Rodgers are worth what you're going to get on the field anymore for any of these teams. Why he would come to the Giants, a team that's not ready to win, as much as certainly the Vikings and maybe to a little lesser extent the Steelers.
Right.
I'd be shocked if he were to sign with the Giants, although they think they have a good chance. I think this all comes down to whether Kevin O'Connell wants him or not. And if Kevin O'Connell wants him, he'll be a Viking. If he doesn't, and he thinks J.J. McCarthy's ready, then the Giants and Steelers will be in play. If the Giants don't get him, well, they're going to have to find a way to get – they want Cam Ward in the worst way, and they may have to trade up to get him, because the Titans, who you never know from week to week, they're changing their mind.
Robert Butler was just
right. They're trading pick. They're not trading the pick. They're taking Carter. They're not taking Carter. They're taking Hunter. They're not taking Hunter. Right now, they seem to be on Cam Ward. So if the Giants don't get Cam Ward, and I don't think they're going to get a consolation prize in Shedeur Sanders, because I think Shedeur Sanders is going to fall down this draft.
I think a lot of teams, Keith, don't want to put up with his father. I mean, I don't know. There are some teams like the Commanders maybe might be interested in him, although they have Jaden Daniels. They don't really need him. They got Marcus Mariota. They're backing him up. So, I mean, again, they could strike gold. I mean, who knows?
Well, you could. Know? We don't know. It's all a gamble, right? With any of these guys, right? Yes. None of these guys are worth, to me, risking, 4 or 5 years of development of your team in general if you miss. So that's why you take a quarterback later on. But to Sanders specifically, if I'm the Giants or I'm anybody in that top 10, I'm not taking him. I'm worried about a guy. If I heard the story right, when he interviewed with the Titans, his father went to the interview with him. I mean, what 22-year-old man needs his father to go to any job interview with him? I mean, I just don't get it. I never needed my
mom to go to one with me. I was with them.
Your mom, your dad, your dog. You go yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's a lot of red flags with Shedeur Sanders, and maybe we're wrong. If I'm the Giants, I avoid it.
Does it help or does it hurt him if his dad gets involved? That's the question I have here with this, Keith. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think in some people's eyes it might help them, Ralph, but in others it's going to be a detriment. In my mind, it's a detriment because
50-50. I mean, we don't know that, but I mean, but I'm thinking it could be. Anything could happen there. Smokin' Jim, any thoughts? New York Giants.
Man, I tell you what. Sometimes you just got to feel sorry for the Giants, man. One of the franchises that everybody loves. The NFL is better when the Giants is winning, but what happened to Barkley, man, how do you get over something like that? So they're definitely going to have to make a big splash in this draft, and
Yeah.
And it's really just up in the air with her picking. So, do you think there's any chances of the Giants trading back several spots and picking up extra draft picks?
It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible, Smoking Jim, if they don't love that where they are with what's left at 3, right? Say they don't get Cam Ward. If Cam Ward's there, they're taking Cam Ward. Or if they can't trade up for Cam Ward, maybe they trade out of that spot. If somebody's willing to give them enough to, maybe for Shedeur Sanders, maybe if somebody wants to trade up for Giante, who seems to be anywhere from 7 to 14 in this draft, depending on who you listen to. But there could be teams that want to assure they can move up and get him if they want him. Or if Carter should fall backwards, I think the Giants could do well there. But they could trade out. I'm not crazy about what they did in free agency. I think they got quantity more than quality. And this is still a team that has got a lot of holes to fill, not just that quarterback spot. I mean, they bring Slayton back, and every year they're trying to get rid of Slayton, it appears. But then he's one of their big free agency signings every year.
Yeah, well, that's like Cleveland. Myles Garrett said he wanted to trade, and all of a sudden they bring him back. And then now I'm hearing the Bengals are bringing back Hendrickson, and he said he wanted out. So, I mean, anything can happen in the NFL. You know how it goes. The Giants
are in a weird situation of having all these holes, no veteran quarterback. Well, it's not one that's any good. Right. Maybe wanting to throw their lot in with Rodgers because their GM and their coach are not going to be back unless they have a successful season.
I thought they were going to be gone after this year. I thought they were finished.
They probably should have been, right? I mean, when you're in the situation where they are, where you've got to make the right call on a franchise quarterback in so many different positions, you're silly to leave it in the hands of guys whose jobs are hanging on this
Brian
year.
DeBose made such bad decisions on the field. It's unbelievable some of the stuff he's done. I've said this many times. Some people can bake a cake and some people can't. Some people can be coordinators and some people can be head coaches. Brian DeBoe's not a head coach.
100%. 100%. And even if they were really good, but if you're giving them the ultimatum that you got to win this year, but your franchise really needs to start building for the next 4 or 5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
That's a tough situation to leave those two guys in. And human nature says you're going to try to win this year, which means you're going to make calls that are not good for the future of this franchise.
Exactly. All right. Smokin' Jimmy, have any more questions about the Giants before we move on to the Jets?
No, sir.
All right. The New York Jets, Keith, the big news, Justin Fields, signs with them. It is funny because that's it for right now, I believe, with the Jets so far.
Yeah, they need some offensive line help. They need quarterbacks. I think they've got about 8. I don't know. They got other than their top 2 cornerbacks, everybody's a free agent over there. They bring in Fields, which and you guys saw him up close.
Yes.
And I may be in the minority here. I kind of like Justin Fields and the spot he's going to be in here. I really do. I think the Jets are going to be in a position maybe to get another weapon at wide receiver. They still need wide receivers with Adams being let go. And they're not Lazard's gone. All the guys that Rodgers wanted are gone. So they still, and I think it's possible. The best wide receiver in this draft to me is the kid in Arizona, McMillan, who's kind of fallen off people's radar a little bit. And I think he'll be there at 7 when the Jets pick, and he'd be a great weapon for Fields. I think Fields has come into a really good situation. New York's not an easy place to play. But I suppose no place in the NFL is an easy place to play as a quarterback, right? But I think Fields has been better than people give him credit for the last 2 years. I mean, he led the Bears to 6 wins and 6 of their last 7 wins the year before last. And then I thought he played as well as Wilson. I don't think he necessarily was a key to the Steelers winning games early in the season, but he was managing games, I think, pretty well, not turning the ball over. And that's what you're going to get out of Justin Fields. You get something with his legs. Don't turn the ball over. Listen, he's not going to be a top 10 quarterback, but I think he can be a winning quarterback in this league. I like the move a lot.
Fields can't read an NFL defense, says AC Knight. So there's a comment there with that. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on the Jets? Anything you want to add or ask Keith and Justin Fields?
Well, I'm not sure I'm sold on Aaron Glenn.
You've been really tearing him up.
That's a great point.
What do you think about Aaron Glenn?
That's a great point. We didn't talk about the fact that they've got a new head coach, and he's He's certainly has a history here. Had a very decent, if not good, good, not great career with the Jets as a player. He's been a coach around this league a long time. But you never know. As you just mentioned, some guys are bakers and some guys aren't, Ralph, right? So we'll find out how good Aaron Glenn is. Look at guys like Mike Vrabel are good. Guys like Bill Belichick end up being good, but you got to have some ingredients to bake that cake too.
Yes, exactly.
So Aaron Glenn has been a very good, well, let's say good coordinator. I think that Detroit defense was a bit overrated myself.
It showed in the playoff game, didn't it?
In big games, they give up a lot of points, and
exactly. You can't do that. I mean, you can't. That's like when the Steelers were 15-1 against and they won against the New England Patriots the first year Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback, and then go into the playoff game in the AFC Championship game and blow it. Yeah, I mean, that's the comparison that I look at with this Detroit team this year. I'm going to have an expert come on to talk about the Detroit Lions as well.
It's interesting too, Ralph, with Aaron Glenn and Smoking Jim too. With Aaron Glenn, I mean, most times teams go coordinator, and when it doesn't work out, they take an established coach. The Jets have gone coordinator for the last 4 or 5 hiring cycles. For them, they've taken coordinators and not hired. I think the last established coach they probably
was Rich Holtite, I think.
Holtite was an established I would say coach. Bill Parcells. What about Bill Parcells? He was
and then they had Belichick there in the room for about 5 minutes?
5 minutes. 5 minutes, but he was he
there for 5 minutes.
So I thought they'd go the established coach route this time, right? I mean, the last bunch of guys were Bowles and Saleh and
Brian, Saleh, and then I forget who the interim coach
guys
was
before him, but still, Rex Ryan was a coordinator when they hired him.
Yes,
so I thought they'd go an established coach route this year, and they didn't. So. Jet fans, buckle up. You're either going to be really good or really bad, is my guess. So.
Yeah, well, you know what? Smoking Jim has a point. Aaron Glenn, I don't know as a head coach, but we'll find out this year, and we'll see where the Jets go. Do they pull the plug on him after one season? We've seen it happen. It can happen, and and could happen.
The AFC is going to be very interesting this year, right? We'll see where the Bills. Everybody keeps expecting the Bills to fall off, and they don't. They they maintain that consistency at least in a regular season and until they falter in the playoffs, but still, at least they're in position to contend in the playoffs. But you got teams like the Jets, who I think are going to be they'll be a surprise. Whether they're really good or really bad will probably be interesting. And the Patriots may rebound faster than I thought. I mean, I see some light at the end of the tunnel, and it doesn't feel like an oncoming train anymore. So,
they have Mike Vrabel, and he's a former New England Patriot. He knows the system. He knows what they expect there. He's been there. He's had some coaching experience in Tennessee, worked with the Cleveland Browns there for a little bit. Yeah. So we'll find out what happens. My surprise was I was shocked that Stefanski didn't get fired and they moved in Vrabel because he was there on the staff, and I'm surprised Brian Flores hasn't gotten a job yet. I don't know other than suing the NFL. You know what I mean?
That'll hinder your opportunities, but he's a really good football coach, right? And this is going to hurt him for a while. It's obvious. He's going to have to pay his penance and hasn't done that yet.
Yeah, I know, and I think that's why the Steelers are paying the price because they hired him as an assistant, and then I think that's why they're putting the stick to the Steelers. But that's just my opinion, So, but that's why we're here to express our opinion.
Exactly.
Keith Engle is our guest here on the Sports Corner Show every Tuesday, 4 to 6 p.m. Next week, we will not be here on Tuesday. We will be here on Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. I have some guests I'm rounding up for next week, and we're going to have, as we continue on our 32-team the draft coverage and also about the free agency leading up to the draft. I'm going to try to get somebody from all 32 teams to come on here and talk about their team and what's going to happen. So, and we're getting close. I mean, we're not getting close yet as far as getting all the guys together for these teams, but we're getting close. The draft's coming up in about a month. And, we have some time to dissect a lot of stuff. I love the draft. I get into this. I dissect every today. As soon as Leo Haggerty's done with us, if Leo chooses to stay on with us, we're going to dissect each position. We were Smoking Jim and I before Robert Butler come on. We were talking about quarterbacks. Next week we'll talk about running backs. The week after, the line, that kind of thing. Each position in the draft, the players involved, who's good, who's not, who do we think is going to happen, what's being said out there. There's a lot of mock drafts out there, and a lot of them have the Steelers going in about 5 different directions.
What number? Where are the Steelers pick?
We're at 21.
21, great spot for Jackson Dart. I'll tell you right now.
Hey, that's Smoking Jim, man. There you go, Jackson Dart. There you go. You got a fan.
If he falls to 21, he's been moving up everybody's draft board.
Yeah. I think if he's available, I think the Steelers should take him. Of all the quarterbacks there, I agree with Smoking Jim. He come from Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Lane Kiffin runs a good system down there. And I think that's that would be a really good pick for the Steelers if he's available, and I hope he is. If he's not available, I know they've looked at the kid from Louisville, that Sloth or whatever his name is.
Sloth.
Yeah. And then I also think they should look at Kyle McCord from Syracuse.
I like Kyle McCord. I don't like him early, right? But you get him in the 3rd, 4th round. I think he's a good value pick for sure. One thing, Smoking Jim asked me about the Giants trading back. I mean, if the Giants were smart, they would trade back and far enough and keep trading back maybe and take Jackson Dart ahead of somebody like the Steelers. So watch out for that too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be crazy here with this draft. We're on live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X platforms, and on the Huddle Sports Network on Roku. And we're also live today on TGI Sports Network. Yeah. And Keith and I still need to have a conversation. I want to get on that podcasting network you're on now, that International Sports Network.
National Streaming Sports,
Yeah. I want to get on that. Or and we're working still diligently. JT Toth is still working on finishing up the Sports Vival website. And we're going to be broadcasting live on there as well. All of our shows our sports programs will be live on there as well. So just to let you know, we're moving on up. It's just taking some time, like Donald Trump said to a farmer when he went to this farmer's house who wrote him a letter. And he said, I'm going to do something for you for the small farmers, but it's going to take time. And good things always take time, as they say. So, but we'll see what happens. So, but that's the future of RW Media Productions. And I appreciate Keith for advertising us on your program as well. And we're going to start giving back and advertising your network here as well.
We appreciate that, and I love. I don't mind. I certainly enjoy giving a shout out for you guys because I get to come on and shoot the baloney with you for a little bit every couple of weeks.
I heard something very interesting here. I was watching Storage Wars, and Daryl was on, and he says, "What does Dave think? I just come off the baloney truck." Smoking Jim's involved in a bingo match here, I think. So there you go.
Is he playing bingo today?
His bingo match. So, all right. Keith is brought to you today. Keith Engle is brought to you today by Robin Campbell Insurance. Call Robin today, 412-366-3399. Farmers, Bristol West Insurance. Robin will help you with all kinds of insurance, whatever you need. Been in the business a long time. He came to my house 10 years ago or more. He came to my house, sat down with me and told me exactly what he had. And you know what? I've been dealing with him ever since. So, I suggest that you call Robin today for all your insurance needs, life, auto, home, renters. Renters is key. You got slum landlords out there. You got all kinds of stuff going on with these landlords. My suggestion to you is get it. It's less than $20 a month. Call Robin today. And that number is 412-366-3399. Robin Campbell Insurance. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you. And we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios, 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. It's working, Keith, with Mata because they've been seen all over town. I get emails and phone calls all the time. Hey, I saw your Mata truck riding around town. I said, well, there you go. So. But anyway,
if I see him here, I'll know you're getting the word out. That's for sure.
That's true. You're right. Keith, any final thoughts before we let you go?
No, I enjoyed coming on, and listen, it's an exciting time in sports in general. We got the NFL, which never goes away. It's a 12-month, 24 hours, 7 days a week situation there. We got baseball opening up. We got the NCAA tournament. It's an exciting time for sports. So
the NCAA tournament. What are your thoughts on West Virginia not getting in, and then they're getting the governor? The governor's going after him now. He's filing a lawsuit. I think
the governor should shut up. I'm sure West Virginia's got more important things to worry about than who gets in the NCAA tournament. Listen, these guys, if you're arguing that you're the 64th best team in the country, listen, I don't disagree that they probably ought to be in over the 14th best team in the SEC.
Yeah.
When that team goes 5-13 or something in conference. That's an abomination, right? But I'm more worried about some of the mid majors who get left out. That I am the West Virginias and the Indianas of the world, right? And the governor should just shut up.
Yeah, well, you know what? I found out something very interesting today, and this came from a talk show host in town here who never talks sports. Yeah. And he got involved in it, and he said that West Virginia has severe declining enrollment at West Virginia University. So you need, like you said, Keith, worry more about that stuff than worrying about your team filling the last spot. We have two teams here in Western Pennsylvania. Robert Morris made the they won the Horizon League title, and St. Francis of Loretto, PA. They made it as well. So we have two from this area. Pitt blew it, and once again, like Smokin' Jim said, I don't understand how Jeff Capel still has a job for 2 years in a row. He turned down the NIT. I mean, come on, twice. In 2 years, he turned down the NIT.
He said no. Why? What's the reason for saying no? I mean, you get to keep playing, you get to keep practicing. If you don't go, you're done practicing and all that.
And then Pitt cries to Blues they can't get the recruits. Well, you can't get recruits because your coach is giving up on you after we didn't make it to the NCAA, so I think we're just going to have to decline the NIT.
I understand that the NIT doesn't have the luster that it had decades ago, but the fact remains you get to keep playing, you get to keep practicing, and all those games are on TV too, and you get to be seen by. And
you cost the university money because they're being, like you said, seen on TV to sell merchandise.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Put butts in the seats. You know what I mean?
They play on campus sites for until the semi-final, so they might have given up some revenue for a game too. So silly,
exactly. Well, we have our new athletic director. Oh no, our new athletic director is Alan Green, and he came from Tennessee. So I know, and I heard this year, both Jeff Capel and Pat Narduzzi are up for evaluation. He's taking a serious look at both of them, and we're going to find out what happens. And this could be the straw that breaks Capel's back, and gets him out of here. You know what I mean? Because 2 years in a row, you turn down the NIT and nobody says anything about it. I mean, come on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really awful. And, it's a disgrace. Your thoughts, Smokin' Jim, on Pitt turning down the NIT again?
Well, I'll just go back to West Virginia. And you only win 19 games and you're one and done and you're end of the season tournament. You don't deserve to make the NCAA. So I have no problem with that. And Pitt, that's a joke. I mean, last year they had their feelings hurt. So I understood why they didn't go. I didn't agree with it, but I understood the reasoning. But there's no justification this year for not continuing to play in the National Invitation Tournament.
Oh, yeah. All right, Keith. Thanks for being part of the program as always. Keith Engle, TGS Sports Network. Appreciate it. We'll have you back on again real soon here, Keith. We always enjoy having you on as well. So
always fun. Thanks, guys.
All right. You're welcome. Have a great one, Keith. Thank you. Keith Engle, TGS Sports Network. Check out his shows. They're all over YouTube and Facebook. All right. When we come back for hour number 2 of the Sports Corner Show, we haven't done 2 hours in a long time, but we're doing it special up until the draft. Wrestle Talk will be back right after WrestleMania because we're doing a special WrestleMania post show. And that's coming up, so keep it right here to Ralph RW Media Productions. When we come back after this, it's hour number 2.
welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosset Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Hallis Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
Oh my, some autograph for you. We're going to turn it up for the second hour of the Sports Corner Show. My name, Ralph Williams, and on the phone with me, my co-host, Smokin' Jim Frazier. Smokin' Jim, welcome to hour number 2 of the Sports Corner Show.
Thanks, Ralph, man. That first hour was great.
Oh, yeah. We had 2 great guests, Robert Butler from the Sports Scope broadcast on YouTube and Facebook. And also we had TGI Sports host and great guy, Keith Engle. He was on as well. And now we're going to bring another gentleman on here who is from Amped Up Sports, Leo Haggerty, and my one of my co-hosts on the Sports Wrap Show on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Leo, welcome to the program. Great to have you here to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How's everything, Leo?
Well, you know what, Ralph? I'm looking around here. You said there's a gentleman coming on. I don't see a gentleman. I just see me.
There you go, man. There you go.
I'm out here cooking dinner for the Knights of Columbus. We have our 4th degree meeting every third Tuesday of the month. So we're doing our Lenten meal today, Ralph. Being that it's Lent, we're going to have soup. We're going to have salad. That'll get us through.
Well, you know what, Leo? If I could afford it, I would fly a private jet down just to pick that up and meet you in person for the first time ever. If I had the money, I would do it. You know,
one of these days, Ralph. One of these days.
That's it. Yeah, I know. That's what Jackie Gleason always says. One of these days. You know what I mean? You know. So.
Yeah, but you're not Alice.
No, I'm not Alice. You're exactly right. But it almost happened last fall. You know, we had a trip planned to come down to Florida. I was going to visit you, Pete, Ray, and Harry the Greek, and then I was going to head down and meet Scott and Candy, but this never happened. So the trip never happened. We had something come up as sometimes we do when we plan trips. So, you know, but anyway, Smokin' Jim, say hello to Leo Haggerty.
Hey, what's happening, Leo? What you cooking, buddy?
Chicken noodle soup. We go light during Lent, but I'll tell you what, we're gonna have a nice pork loin come April. That's for sure.
Oh, there you go. There you go. But nothing like some great fish out of the ocean there from Florida. There you go.
Yes. Yeah. We have our fish fry every Friday, so you know, we went with baked cod last Friday, and the week before we did boiled shrimp. And this week, no telling. We like to think we're Alice's restaurant here. You know, we just
you mean Mel's Diner?
Yeah, Mel's Diner.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. All right, Leo. Let's get started here. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What are they looking to do in the draft and free agency? What's it looking like right now?
Well, you know what, Ralph? The biggest problem that teams have is they don't build their foundation the way it should be. Here's what I mean. If I'm the Bucs, or if I'm any team, the first thing I need to do is how am I going to beat the other three teams in my division? How am I going to win my division? Because if I'm a head coach, winning your division guarantees your job. Because guess what? The owner now makes money with a home game. And again, I preach this forever and ever on your show on Saturday that
Right.
you know the Commanders had a great season. The problem was they won at Tampa Bay and won at Detroit. So guess what? No money for the owner. The Eagles had 2 home games. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Jeffrey Lurie was probably looking somewhere north of 150 million and south of 200 million for those 2 games, just in ticket sales, parking, concessions, merchandising. So yeah, the first thing they need to do.
People staying at hotels, restaurants making money. I mean, it's a ripple effect all across the board with the economy whenever you can have an extra game or 2.
Absolutely. And you got to figure out how to win your division. Then you got to figure out how to win the conference. So what the Buccaneers need to do is they need to figure out, how am I going to beat the Rams, the Lions, or the Eagles? That's what they need to do. The first thing they need to do, and I learned this when I started back with Carmen Perone, who was the head scout of the New Orleans Saints. You work from the ball out. And the Eagles proved that. You've got to control the trenches. You've got to control what's happening on the offensive and defensive line. The biggest need right now for the Bucs is an edge rusher. Here's your problem, Ralph. When you're talking about an edge rusher, and again, I learned this so early in my career with scouting. Don't fall in love with a one-trick pony. The problem is your edge rushers, and I look at those guys up at Michigan. They're speed rushers. And don't take anything away from them. If they can't stop that move, why change? It ain't broke, don't fix it. But you got to look at these kids and say, okay, do they got to rip? Do they got to swim? Do they got to spin? Because if all they got is a speed rush, they're going to get up to that next level when that tackle is 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", about 350. You're going to need something. So again, that's the biggest need right now for the Bucs. Now, they did sign Hassan Reddick, which is going to be a little – I don't think it's a project, because I think this guy's coming in to prove something. Because the same thing happened with JPP when he came down here from the Giants. And, Barrett came over from Detroit. He was playing behind – or excuse me, Denver. He was playing behind Von Miller. He wanted to prove, hey, I can be that guy too. So, yeah, the first look – and they got to look defense, Ralph. It's got to be edge rusher.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because they've laid an egg on a few of them. I'm sorry to say this, Kalijah Cansey from Pitt, they kind of laid an egg on him. He's been hurt. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I don't know what Savasier Dennis is up to down there these days. And Jordan Whitehead is there. Is he still there? Or did he?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
The problem with the Bucs is their secondary got decimated with injuries during the season. They had, Winfield and Whitehead, they were out pretty much half the season together. So, they were playing with the JV. And you know what? Everybody talks about next man up. That's fine. But when you're talking about next man up, now you're dropping off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here, let's go to the comments section here real quick, and then we'll get to Smokin' Jim's comments here about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, who do we have here? Oh, yeah. All right. Hold on a second here. Yeah, I got you. That guy that tries to put up his free advertising, he does it all the time. Every time Leo's on, he comes on Saturdays and puts up this free advertising about something about podcasting or something. I don't know. Who cares? It doesn't pertain to the topic, right, Leo?
Hey, you got to stay in your lane there, fellas. Stay in your lane.
That's right. That's right. All right, Smokin' Jim, you have any comments for Leo in regards to, or any questions in regards to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I'll tell you what, man, Leo's a genius. One of the first things Bill Cowher, former Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, ever told me was that his goal was always to win the division first. And the second goal was to go 7-1 at home and split the away games. And that'll give you a record that was good enough to, get into the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen, because everything comes down to that playoff money. If you can get a home game or two at home, and the Pittsburgh Steelers under Bill Cowher had a lot of home field advantages, and you can make a lot of money for your ownership and your fans.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen it because I used to work at Heinz Field in 2 different capacities. And when there was more games, that was more work for me. So, I mean, and I agree wholeheartedly with you, Leo, but, it helps your economy out when you have extra games. I have a question for you here, Leo. And I know a lot of people don't ask this very much, but I know he got beat up after the playoff game. What's the word on Todd Bowles at this point?
All depends on which group of fans you talk to. I
Okay.
don't understand. They say, well, he can't win the Super Bowl. Well, guess what? There's 31 other coaches that are in that same
They can't win
ballpark.
the Super Bowl. Yeah. We have one here that can't win a Super Bowl. So,
And you know what? Be careful what you ask for, because we're seeing that down here with the Tampa Bay Rays. Everybody's talking about, well, Stu Sternberg needs to sell the team. Well, guess what? You may get an ownership group in here that's going to move to Nashville. So, yeah, Todd is doing a very good job. Is he doing an excellent job? No.
No.
But he's doing well enough to win a division and get a home game for the owner. The Glazers are very happy about that. You're never going to get fired for playing home games in the playoffs, because you know what, Ralph? Fans need to realize this. During the season, it's a 70-30 split, maybe 80-20 now. The home team keeps 80%. Now, the luxury boxes are totally different, but the general admission seats, the home team keeps between 70-80%, and the visiting team gets 20-30%. Great. Nice, good. But, okay, thanks. And in the playoffs, guess what the split is, Ralph? 100-0. There is none. The home team keeps everything.
Everything, right? Exactly.
So that's why.
Leo, how much time do you have? Because I just heard somebody asking about your volunteer work there, or whatever you're doing.
Oh no, I'm fine for another 15 minutes.
Okay, great. Okay, good. I wasn't sure how much time we would have you. Speaking of the other NFL football teams, let's talk a little bit about the draft here. We have all different types of quarterback, the main position here. Who do you think takes Cam Ward? Who do you think takes Shedeur Sanders? And who do you think takes Jackson Dart?
I truly think Tennessee is going to trade that pick, because if you don't need a quarterback, and you know what, they got Levens. They got to sit down and say, okay, is this our guy or not? If he is, trade the pick, go back down, get a couple more first-round picks, because you got more holes in the Swiss cheese in that team. Quarterback isn't going to do it. But now you're going to see, I think somebody's going to jump up and try to take Cam Ward, because it just makes logical sense when you look at what's going on in the National Football League. When I looked around, you got a lot of teams right now that are sitting with quarterbacks that you really can't move up with, like Dallas. You got Dak Prescott. You're stuck there. The Eagles, they got Hurts. Washington's all set.
Jacksonville's got Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you got a lot of guys who just, you got money committed to them, and so I'm working on getting Cole Crouch on here to talk about the Seattle Seahawks or Vinny Riccici from Seattle about the Seahawks. But look at Mike McDonald here, Leo. Let's talk about him for a minute. He's cleaning house over there. He got rid of Geno Smith. He got DK Metcalf out the door. I mean, and then signed Sam Darnold. I mean, you got a lot of these teams just messing around with different things here. But where do you see, like I said, Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart going as well?
I'll tell you what, I think the Giants are a player in this.
Okay.
Because, they don't have anybody right now. I don't know. It all depends on who's there.
Okay.
I think Ward is the first one off the board. I think Shedeur Sanders. The Raiders got to make a move here. If they think Geno Smith is the long term, then that takes another one off the board. So, guys, and Smoking Jim, I'd like to know what you think. I think we're going to see a lot of movement trade-wise in this top 1, 2, or 3.
Now, what do you think, Smoking Jim?
Yeah, I agree with Leo. You just never know on draft day what's going to happen, what people are thinking, but you're getting really no talk about the draft. The team that has the first pick overall, you're not hearing anything coming out of that organization, not hearing about anybody trying to make trades. So that tells me that Leo is right. We may see blockbuster trades, maybe the most in NFL history in the first round.
Yeah, and this quarterback class, to be frankly honest with you, I've been told is second worst behind the Kenny Pickett draft class. So, I mean, it's really not that great. I hear next year the quarterback class is going to look I'm hearing it's going to look really good for next year, Leo. What do you think about that?
Well, last year was an abomination. You had 6 guys going the top 12 picks.
Yeah.
And, that's phenomenal. I had no problem with Williams. I wouldn't have taken him first. I'd have taken Daniels. I had no problem with those two. I had no trouble with Michael Penix.
Right.
I wondered about J.J. McCarthy. And I think the best thing that happened to the kid is he got hurt, because now he got a chance to sit and observe. I don't think the Vikings would have played that well with him at quarterback, because, again, you don't see rookies doing really well out of the gate. But, you got a lot of guys. You got Bo Nix out of Denver. You got Drake up at New England. I mean, this is phenomenal that you had, by the end of the year, 6 rookie quarterbacks starting in the National Football League. That's unheard of.
Right.
So, usually you come up with 2 or 3. I can remember the year, Goff came out.
Right.
And, it was a choice between him or the guy who goes to the Eagles, who's now kind of funny that he gets hurt in the Eagles game, and he doesn't even I used to call him the Green Moses. He got to the promised land but didn't get in because he was hurt.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah. If you've got 3 quarterbacks in that top, that's normally what you're looking at. 2, 3, maybe 4. 6, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of nuts. And to put pressure on a rookie quarterback like that, just coming out of college, the game is completely different from college to the NFL, and to put them under that kind of pressure. And nowadays, with the 5-year contract, you actually have 4 years in the 5th-year option. It's kind of a bargain to have your rookie quarterback actually playing for you, because you don't have to pay him that much money.
Well, the bottom line is, you used to be able to sit the guy. Now, you're throwing away a year. But
with the salary cap and everything, I
still don't have a problem with that, Ralph, because it's hard, the step from the college game to the NFL. I mean, I've heard guys talk about quarterbacks come in and they couldn't even point out the mic because they never get under center. They just the Mike linebacker, and for you people listening and watching today, the Mike linebacker, that's the middle linebacker, and the quarterback has to count out who the middle linebacker is so the center can figure out the protection to call.
Right.
Well, the quarterbacks come in and say, "Well, wait a second, what's a mic?" Because it's not that they didn't know; it's they didn't have to know, because all you're doing in college is you're getting in the shotgun. I would think 90 to 95% of the time, teams are in the shotgun. And it drives me nuts on the goal line, Ralph, because, you get out there 3rd and a yard. No, it's really 3rd and 6 because the ball's 6 yards back. Get under center. That'd be nice.
Right. Leo joins me every Saturday at 9 a.m. For the Sports Wrap Show. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X platforms, and also on the Huddle Sports Network and the South Florida Tribune Network as well. Here it is right here. And we also sometimes have a special guest on with us. This past week, we had Candy Ebling on from the South Florida Tribune, Scott Morganroth's wife, who handles a lot of the stuff for him technically and everything, and she does a real good job hosting the show. I'm on Thursdays with her, called Fire Up, which is at 9 o'clock. I will not be on this Thursday because I am traveling to Ocean City, Maryland. But Saturday on the Sports Wrap Show, I will be broadcasting from Ocean City, Maryland. So just to let everyone know that as well. So, Leo, I will be fishing in the ocean and looking to catch a nice big marlin or something. So we'll see. you know.
I don't know if you get a marlin that far north, but I'll tell you what,
I know.
you could get some nice sea bass, that's for sure.
Oh, there you go. Hey, I'll take whatever I can get, you know. It's slim pickings when I fish. I don't know why, but it seems to be that way, you know. So I haven't had too much luck in Lake Erie, though. So maybe I'll have more luck in the ocean, you know.
You
So,
know, Ralph, think about this. When we were kids, you couldn't even go near Lake Erie, more or less fish out of it, and now you
fish
can
out of
fish
it,
out of
yeah.
it. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it is. It is. It's beautiful up there. I love Erie. Erie gets a bad rap all the time, but it's very nice up there. So, you know, I love it up there, but I love Ocean City, Maryland too. So we'll see what happens down there as well. So, you know, but Leo, do you have any or Smoking Jim, have any final questions to ask Leo or anything you want to talk about with Leo?
No, sir.
All right, Leo, you have any final thoughts that you want to add before we go?
Well, you know, I'm going to jump on the SEC. And more so the NCAA Men's Selection Committee. How can you pick 14 teams out of a conference? You know, you got a team in there that's 6-12 in their conference. One message is that saying. I'll tell you
That's
what.
a shame. If they got to change the rules. They got to do something. That's unacceptable to me. You know,
it's a simple fix, Ralph. All they got to do is say you got to be 500 or better in your conference, or you can't play in the inbox. But I'll tell you what. If the SEC doesn't have 8 or 9 teams going to next weekend, then the committee got it wrong. Because, I mean, there were some teams that were left out. And I'll tell you another thing that amazes me. I put this up on my post yesterday. How does this play-in games tonight and tomorrow, how do 2 teams come in as a number 16 and 2 others come in as a number 11? I can't figure that one out. I don't know what they think. Why aren't all 4 coming in as number 16? Because they're the last 8. Help me out on that one, NCAA. But you know what? There's not a lot of brain matter running around up in Indianapolis. That's for sure.
Well, I got to tell you this much, Leo. I've heard you many times speak about the NCAA. You and I have had discussions about the NIL and how they run their ship. And, you know, the NCAA, you know, with football, you know, and this NIL stuff that's going on in the transfer portal and you know, they shouldn't have to, you know, after the Bulls are satisfied, we've gone into that and all this stuff. It's the same thing now in basketball. It's the same thing. The NCAA can't get it right. And not only can they not get it right, they have no clue what they're doing. And that's the whole problem here. They need a more structured system, and they have none.
And you know what, Ralph? There's a simple fix to the portal. You get one free move. That's it. So if you start at South Florida, and then in 2 years, hey, I want to transfer to Alabama or to Maryland, or I want to transfer to Florida State. Okay, you're eligible right away. But if you try to do that again, you got to sit a year. That's all. That's all they got to do. You get one free move. You get one get out of jail free card. But after that, you got to sit a year.
You got guys that are 6-year seniors, been with 6 different teams.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They don't know what jacket to wear on homecoming. They don't even know what homecoming game to go to. Wait a second. Jacket. Where am I going? Yeah.
You try to go to the College Football Hall of Fame, and they're like, oh, I was with 6 teams.
Yeah. And you know what's funny?
Know what I mean, you know.
So Cam Ward is a perfect example of that. You know where he started at, Ralph?
Wasn't it Washington State or something like that or whatever?
Yeah, that's where he was up second. But his first place was Incarnate Word in San Antonio. And he went from Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami. And remember, I told you this when he came out. I said, Miami is going to be really good because Cam Ward is really good. And you know what? If they'd have told Cristobalo the game was being played on Sunday instead of Saturday, they probably would have gone undefeated. I've never seen so many crazy coaching moves done. But you know what, Ralph? I want to leave you with this.
Go ahead.
The officiating in the conference tournaments was horrific. They've got to.
Yeah.
This is amazing. The referee called palming. And it was, the announcers had to go, well, this is what palming is. Because they had to explain to people what just happened because it happens every play. And it was just so egregious. The referee blew his whistle and said, hey, we got to do that. So Well, that's my final thoughts, guys.
All right. Thank you very much, Leo. Smoking Jim, you have anything you want to final thoughts for Leo? You there, Smoking
Leo
Jim?
was awesome as usual, and I wish I had some of that chicken noodle soup, brother.
Hey, I'll put some aside for you guys. Take care, fellas. Ralph, talk to you Saturday, guys.
All right, thank you. And Philip, thank you for that. And then I don't know what he meant by Bozo or who he was talking about, but anyway, it wasn't Bozo the clown because he wasn't here. But Leo, thank you very much for being part of the program. Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports talked to us about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and some other sports things and sports-related things. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on what Leo had to say in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Smoking Jim.
I tell you what, man, he nailed it, man. Leo's a former scout, and he got a philosophy like Bill Cowher, and you got to win your division first, man.
Oh yeah,
that should be your goal: win your division, and then think about the conference. But yeah, man, you can't get like we were talking about the NCAAs. How you got a 14th place team in their division, their conference,
6-12,
and they make the NCAAs. But
yeah,
you got to be competitive within your conference.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we're simulcasted here today on the TGS Sports Network. We had Keith Engle on earlier, and we're also on Huddle Sports Network as well on Roku, and we're on the YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms. This is the Sports Corner Show. We're here usually every Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m., and then at 5 to 6 we have Wrestle Talk. I have decided to postpone Wrestle Talk till after WrestleMania to accommodate the draft season for the NFL. Smoking Jim, this is one of the more exciting parts of the season, other than the games, is the draft. Sitting there with the intensity to see what these teams are going to do, what's going to happen, who's going to do what, who's going to do where, what the Steelers are going to do. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on this year's NFL draft? What do you think can happen, is going to happen? And we'll finish up our talk about the quarterbacks.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ralph, I'm a little disappointed in you and Leo because, I call you Ralph Marlin Williams, catching that marlin fish up there. But, hey, you guys did not mention one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL, Baker Mayfield. How can you not mention Baker? He basically saved the coach's job down here, brother.
Yes, he did.
So,
yes, absolutely, he did. You are exactly correct. And
but in terms of the draft, to me, every year the draft is deep at every position. Just got to know how to scout. Just got to know where to look. I think the teams will get. Listen, if you look at this, sorry about that, my thing. Can you hear me, Ralph?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. I'm good.
Yeah. If you look at the statistics at two different schools, Deion Sanders' son has an argument that he should be not only winner of the Heisman Trophy, but the first pick overall. His stats is crazy.
Oh, I know they are. Yeah, they are. But it's his dad that's going to be the problem here. That's where,
Well, a lot of people had dads. Peyton Manning and Eli Manning had dads.
Yeah.
So, I don't think that he'll be involved because he's coaching Colorado.
Right.
Can't be places at once. But I tell you what, man. The reason I brought him up is because if he does begin to slide a little bit, like Leo said and like you said, don't be surprised to see somebody make a move to trade up to get ahead of some other teams to get him. In the same way with Jackson Dart. If they think the Pittsburgh Steelers like him and he starts sliding into the late teens, somebody will try to get up ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers so that they can get him.
Well, I hear the Steelers were at Ole Miss's Pro Day. I think it was this week or something, or last week or whatever. So I heard the Steelers were there looking at some players. So maybe Jackson Dart's one of them. So I do know most of the other experts, including Ray Fittipaldo. I've heard some stories from him, and he has reported as well that our Steeler insider here, he said that basically that, the Steelers are looking at Jackson Dart. I think the Steelers have to now start looking at every option at quarterback here, because they've just basically, in football terms, dropped the ball on this whole thing, So,
well, the ball started again. We always talk about it's not what you do; it's what you have to redo.
Right, exactly.
And when you blew it that bad with Kenny Pickett, like you said, he's already on his third team, and he's still under his rookie contract.
Yeah, exactly.
When you first round, you should never, ever, ever, outside of injuries. Who was that nose guard the Steelers drafted instead of Dan Marino? They ended up getting paralyzed.
Gabe Rivera.
Gabe Rivera. I think he
Yes.
would have been a great player. But other than injury, you should never, never miss on the first round draft pick. I don't care if you're the 32nd pick in the draft. You should be able to, because all you're trying to do is fit a player into your system. You're not drafting guys based on potential. You're drafting somebody that should be able to fit the system that you run and the chemistry of your ball club. So it should be very easy. And when you blow it on your first round,
right,
now you have to redo.
Yeah.
The Steelers got to redo the running back position because they got rid of Najee
Harris. Yeah, who Claudio Rosano seems to love. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Najee Harris going bye-byes here?
Well, it breaks my heart because there's things you can't coach. 6'2", 245, you can't coach.
Right.
He played behind the worst offensive line in Steeler history in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And the Steelers been around almost 100 years, and he's the 5th leading rusher in the team's history.
Yes.
I mean, what more could the guy do?
Right, exactly.
And again, so now you got to go and draft.
And find a running back.
There's only 7 draft picks that you can make in the season.
And they already traded their second round pick.
And that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah. And I want to say good luck to Omar Khan and Andy Weidel and Mike Tomlin to try to get that back. That's going to be the interesting thing here. I'm looking at them trying to get that back in this draft, but I don't know how they're going to do it. But of course,
they won't get it back.
Yeah.
But again, if they do a little bit better job, see, I'm a big believer in, if I like people that's already done it.
Yes.
And the NFL is giving you gifts and veteran free agency.
Yes.
Go ahead and get somebody that's already done it. You cannot draft. The Steelers show a history of not being able to draft defensive linemen.
Oh,
so go
it's terrible.
Get you 2.
That DeMarvin Leal. I told everybody about him. You know what I mean? Who's the other ones? There's a couple of them too. Ziggy Hood. We talked about Ziggy Hood. That was a bad move.
Keanu Benton.
Keanu Benton's not. I mean, Keanu Benton, and I've heard this.
Bum.
Yeah,
he's a bum.
I know that, Smokin' Jim, but let me ask you this question: if he was in his natural position and not at nose tackle, do you think he could play better?
He would be a bigger bum.
Hey, Isaiah Buggs, remember him?
Oh, another bum.
Yeah, and then they just re-signed another bum, Loudermilk. So I mean, it's
an easy fix. It looks like Ironhead's son Cam Hayward got a couple more years in him.
Yeah.
So go after somebody that proves that they can play in this league.
Yes.
We get this bum in free agency that got 6 sacks in his whole career. He's been around like 7 years. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, hey, I tell you what, man, they're going to do a real good job with Dean Lowry. I tell you, man. So. Dean Lowry, Logan Lee. Oh man, Logan Lee's gonna have a big year this year, I think. Don't you? Yeah, I mean, how many times have we preached? It's like preaching to the choir with the Steelers. You got to have good lines of scrimmages. If you don't, you're in trouble. And it's on both sides of the ball here. And it's ridiculous about what's going on here. And they depend too much on their linebackers or their edge rushers. You got to get some guys in here. I told them they should have took who did I say, the guy from Connecticut a few years back? Travis, what the heck was his name? He plays for the Ravens. He's a nose tackle, number 98 for the Ravens. I'm trying to remember his name. He played with Connecticut. And I said the Steelers should have took him. They didn't. I told them they should have took that kid from Minnesota, that Mike Lulel or whatever his name was. 360 pounds. He's a really good guard. He could have tied out, blocked on the line. I mean, he's starting for the Ravens now. Travis, I can't remember his last name for the life of me. Travis Jones, that's his name, from Connecticut. Remember that, Smokin' Jim? And now the Ravens got him.
I remember you saying it, brother.
Yeah, not in the first round, but he was available, and he didn't take him, and he let the Ravens, the conference, or the AFC North, your division. You let the guy go, and he's in the division, and he's a nightmare to you now. Mike Falala's a nightmare to you now. Anybody that you let get away, that you had an opportunity to draft, that goes to any other team in your division, it's gonna hurt you. It's gonna haunt you. And now that's what it's doing with the Steelers right now. Okay, we got to get better play out of Highsmith this year. TJ Watt got to stay. I'm sorry. I love TJ Watt to death, Smokin' Jim. His performance this last year was okay, but he wasn't even double teamed with a lot of teams, and rookies were blocking him out. I mean, I just don't know if he's out of gas or if it's catching up to him. I don't know what's going on with him, but his play has to happen. There's a lot of things that have to happen with the Steelers this year in order for them to really do well. I'm looking at 9-8. That's what I'm looking at right now. I mean, that's my preliminary opinion on this right now. Until I see what they do in the draft, then maybe I'll change it, or what they do further in free agency. And there's not much left but the scrap heap, and the Steelers are good for the scrap heap. I'm tired. I don't like Martavius Adams. I mean, come on. He's the scrap heap. I mean, there's another one. I mean, bums on this defensive line. I've said it for years too. You and I both. It's like preaching to the choir, and now Okunjobi's gone. You know what I mean? That's no loss, but hey, I admit I was wrong. I was the one that pushed for Okunjobi. He had a good couple years here, and then all of a sudden just fell out. I mean, I don't know, what his deal is, but he just seemed to have fell out of where he was going. Paul Spada says hello. Hi, Paul. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Here's the sad part about that Ogunjobi is that he was, other than Cam Hayward, he was the best that we had on the line.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. It is. Yeah.
And he wasn't any good.
It's a shame. Yeah. Yeah. You ever see the movie 48 Hours too? Did you ever see that? Another 48 Hours with Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy. Remember the part when Eddie Murphy's they're going to get his car and the car blows up, and he says, "They blew up my Porsche. They blew up my Porsche." And Nick Nolte goes, "That's a damn shame." You know what I mean? He said, "Reggie, you're having a bad day. It's a damn shame. They blew up your Porsche." It's a damn shame that Okunjobi's behind the guy other than Cam Hayward that we had online this year. Is that not a good analysis or what?
Yeah, that was great. That was great, bro.
Yeah, I mean, and you know me, I watch a lot of movies, man. I watch a lot of movies. So I mean,
You know what I've been watching lately?
What's that?
Roadhouse. I can't get enough of Roadhouse.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie. Patrick Swayze. Absolutely. Yeah. It was sad to see what happened to him. He died of cancer. He had some kind of cancer.
Patrick Swayze?
Yeah, he died of cancer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he looked bad. He had he was frail looking, and you know how cancer does to you. You know?
Oh man, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had a chance to talk about it on this show. We talked a little bit about it last Saturday on Sports Corner Radio Show, which is this Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. on the 1250 The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial. Every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. here. And here I'm still trying to get adjusted to my new computer here a little bit. Let me see where we're at here. I think things got shuffled around just a tad. There we go. Sports Corner Radio Show every single Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. Ralph Williams, Jsmokin, Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree. The best sports talk show on Saturdays is right here on 1250 The Answer. And the best show on Tuesdays is right here, Sports Corner Show with me, Ralph Williams, Jsmokin, Jim Frazier, Booking Machine. I get all the best guests, and I'm doing it again and again and again as we are doing it here as well. But, Jsmokin, Jim, let's talk about these quarterbacks in this draft. The top three: Shadir Sanders, Jackson Dart, and Cam Ward. What other quarterback do you see in here other than those three that might sneak around or sneak up somewhere?
Well, it kind of surprises everybody because my number one rated quarterback is Jackson Dart. He's been my number one rated quarterback. Number one, like you said, you're one of the few that knows the system that he played in at Mississippi, and it's a great system. He had a great coach there, offensive mind. But here's what I look for in a quarterback. I look for killer instinct, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was watching the Mississippi game, and they were up by about 50 points late in the game. And the coach, what's the coach's name?
We're down in Mississippi and Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin says, run the football, be conservative. First play, he fakes a handoff and throws a 70-yard bomb for a touchdown. And Lane Kiffin loses it. So, but he wanted to get his boy involved. So, like I said, I like killer instincts. I don't like somebody that's satisfied. This guy can run. His mobility is underrated, and got a great arm. He got a touch on the football. His ball placement is outstanding, man. So, he would be my quarterback one. Quarterback two, is, and I would say 1B is Sanders.
Okay, how about Jalen Milroy? Do you think there's anything there for him? Steelers are looking at him.
I love him. He would be number 4. The problem is, really would have to get somebody like a Russell Wilson to develop him. The guy lost all his confidence. Number one, I don't know why he left Alabama. He's going to make. I don't see him going before the 4th round, and maybe somebody may take a chance on him in the 3rd. But look at all that NIL money that he left on the table, man. He was a multimillionaire, man. Alabama starting quarterback. The guy's big. He can run. But there's so much he still needs to learn, and so that's the whole thing with him. I think that if you got somebody like a Russell Wilson who's very positive, who will spend time to help somebody, or a quarterback coach or a quarterback system,
right?
And he would definitely have to go to a team. Say if the Steelers, I would say draft him if the Steelers went with Russell Wilson, because you could still bring him in like you did Justin Fields to run. And because Russell Wilson wouldn't mind that. He's a team player. I can just imagine you taking out Aaron Rodgers so somebody can run the football. That wouldn't last long.
Right.
That wouldn't last long. So.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a
quick.
waste of time. They said they had packages for Justin Fields. I wouldn't mind if he came out and ran a series. I mean, instead they had him coming out 1 or 2 plays here, doing running plays and things like that. It was okay. It worked a few times. A couple times it blew up in their face. Arthur Smith's offense is so boring to begin with that I don't think, you can really do too much of anything to really, you know what I mean? So, but.
Again, I think that Cam Ward's going to be a bust. I wouldn't take him in either round. I don't think he can lead silent prayer. He's flat-footed too often. What quarterback do you see stands flat-footed in the National Football League? That's not going to work. I think he has zero leadership skills. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like half the things that he does. So I wouldn't take him in the 20th round. So good luck to those teams that do take him. I think Howard is a bum from Ohio State.
He's a bum.
I thought Cal McCord.
Yeah, here I have Cal McCord here rated number 7 in the Athlon Sports draft publication.
Well, I thought Cal McCord could have developed into a decent quarterback, but life is about the decisions you make. When you go from Ohio State to Syracuse, that shows me you have no decision-making capabilities to run my offense. Granted, you know who his receiver was in high school, don't you?
No, I don't know.
Harrison.
Oh, get out of here, for real.
Was his high school. Yeah, they came together to Ohio State. So they won all kind of state championships in Philadelphia in high school. They were very successful tandem. All he did was throw the ball to Harrison, but he looked bad going to Syracuse. But I tell you what, man, the Texas quarterback is intriguing. Quinn Ayers.
Yeah.
He's a guy that probably should go higher than he's going to. He got first round pedigree. I think teams. I don't know if Texas had their pro day or not, but I can see teams falling in love with him. His biggest problem was he was being backed up by Peyton Manning's nephew. And everybody wanted him in there. But if you look at what he's done in his career and how he's played, he's played very, very well from the quarterback position. He's a smart quarterback with a lot of experience. So he would be in my top 5.
Well, they have the Steelers picking number 7 in one mock draft I looked at. Max Brosmer from Minnesota, if that's as late as they want to go. Where do you see Dylan Gabriel from Oregon going, perhaps, maybe, or Kyle Leonard?
Curtis
Rourke from Indiana.
Well, I tell you what, the Oregon quarterback is
Dylan
he has
Gabriel,
more starts. He has more starts than any other quarterback in college football history, even more than Bo Nix. His problem is he's short. They say he's maybe 5'10", maybe.
Yeah.
I like him because he's a lefty. He's been short. It ain't like somebody chopped you off at the knees last year. He's been short his whole life,
right,
and been very productive. And he's a smart quarterback, and I like the way.
Yeah, he's only 6 feet. He's only 6 feet, so he's short.
That's what they say.
Yeah,
that's what they say. I don't know. I don't know if he's 6 feet, but he's a short. If he is 6 foot, he's very short. I think he's more closer to 5'11" than he is 6 foot. But
there you go.
Maybe even 5'10". But here's what I look for. It's the intangibles that I look for. Aaron Rodgers was always a rotten teammate, even in California. He was just talented.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look for what kind of chemistry you got with your team. This guy's a multimillionaire at Oregon. You know what he did?
What's that?
He bought a minivan so that he could give rides to his teammates. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He bought a van. Here's a 21, 22, or 23-year-old kid that could be driving a Testarossa, a Corvette,
a Porsche, or anything else. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He brought a minivan. So he can tote around his teammates. Come on, man. You can't buy that kind of PR, brother.
You can't.
That's a team.
No, absolutely.
And if he slides in the draft, I give him a shot. The problem is the Pittsburgh Steelers, listen, there's a receiver that I love, white guy for TCU named Beach,
Right.
Bech. He's the best receiver, in my opinion, in the draft. He's probably not going to go to the 3rd or 4th round, but will the Steelers play a wide receiver? Number 15 should have been getting play time for the Steelers last year.
Yeah,
What's his name?
Skronik. He'll be back this year.
Yes, Skronik.
He just signed a contract.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, for special teams.
Yes. Yeah, but I tell you what, when he caught the ball, he made yards out of it. I mean, and then he's always been reliable.
It's the ones that see that. How come the Steelers couldn't see it and play the guy more?
Exactly.
Again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Are they going to play a white receiver? I don't know. They haven't done so yet.
I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Roman Wilson. That's my, what are they going to do with him? That was a wasted pick. I mean, he was hurt all year,
Well,
and then I'm hearing stories that they purposely kept him away from the game so he could learn the system. What is there to learn? Arthur Smith's system is what? Run, pass, run, run, pass, run, run, pass, run, run, pass, run.
Yeah.
We're the Steelers. We run, pass, run. We're Arthur Smith's our offensive coordinator. We run, pass, run.
Yeah. Is he going to get an opportunity? Is he in Tomlin's doghouse forever? Like Lima Swede. Lima Swede never got out of that doghouse.
I'll tell you what. I actually saw Kevin Colbert. I worked at the apartment building that Lima Swede was staying in. I don't know if they still have the contract with this building, but I used to work in the building where the Steelers used to house the rookies, the first-year rookies, whether they're undrafted or the draft picks. That was before the South Side got built up. All right, but they used to house them over there, separate from the veterans. I guess I don't know why, but they did. But all the first-year Steelers stayed there, and I had the privilege of working in the building. Lima Swede lived in the building. And, I saw Kevin Colbert coming in with psychologists to help him. I don't know what was so psychology about catching a pass. I just don't know. But he was a bust. I mean, and I had the privilege. Mike Wallace lived in the building his first couple years there with the Steelers. He lived in the building that I worked at. So, I mean, I had the privilege of seeing both of them. And seeing Kevin Colbert come in with psychologists and John Norwich and all this, whatever else, the doctors and, and all that stuff. So, so there you are, so, but,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible, brother.
Yeah, it is. I had interaction with Ike Taylor. I think I told you that story. Almost had his Hummer towed away.
Yeah.
He says, I'm Ike Taylor. I said, I know who you are. He goes, well, aren't you going to move my Hummer? I said, no, you're going to move it because we don't have valet parking. So, and he goes, well, how about I pay you double to move it? I said, I'm not allowed to leave the desk. So you do it, whatever you need to do. So, and he went on and got there was a massage parlor there, a massage therapist place there, and they had the contract for the Steelers. So I saw Ryan Clark. I got to meet Ike Taylor, and I saw a few other guys there. So, I got to see them, and that's how I interacted with Ike Taylor. He says, do you know I'm Ike Taylor? I said, I told you, yes, I know you're Ike Taylor. What do you want me to do, jump up and down? That's what I told him, I mean,
That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I never had any interaction with Ben Roethlisberger, but I know some friends of mine that did, and they told me the first couple of years he was, he was with the Steelers. He lived out in the North Hills. And I know some people, managers of some restaurants out there that I'm friends with, that used to be managers there. I don't know if they still are, that had some bad interaction with him. He would come in with a bunch of friends.
True.
He would come in with a bunch of friends and wouldn't pay his bill. And then, there were a couple of times the cops had to go over to make him pay his bill. I'm Ben Roethlisberger. Come on, man. Remember the conversation Bill and I had with him about DJing? I told you that story? How about that one? I mean, I'm Ben. It's Ben. I says, listen, dude, we know about 5,000 Bens. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? It's Ben Roethlisberger. Oh, well, great. That's good to hear. I'm glad you're calling us. What is it? Well, I need a DJ for my wedding. And you two came highly recommended by Dwayne Woodruff. So, came highly recommended. I said, Yeah, but we already had a contracted gig, Smoking Jim. And the point of the matter is, I don't care how much money you were going to pay us or how much money you were going to pay. It's about a contract, something you should know about, a contract. Okay.
You know Dwayne Judge Woodruff.
Yeah, I know Judge Woodruff. Yes, I've met him. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
That's
I know
great,
him
brother.
because I'm friends with the Vento family.
Okay.
Franco's Italian Army. I met Franco.
Uh-huh.
I met Rocky Blair. I met Dwayne Woodruff. I met a few other guys too. Trying to remember a few of them that I met. Jack, I think Jack Ham. I met a few. Yeah, I met Jack Ham. I'll tell you what. In 2000, when I was still in the media, and I had my sports talk show on WEDO radio, and I was still on PCTV the first time. I met Jack Ham up in the press box at Three River Stadium for the very last game that was being played there. It was Pitt versus Penn State. I met Jack Ham.
So, wow, that's incredible, bro.
Yeah, I met Jack Ham. I met him, and he was in the press box, and then Franco was there, of course, because he's a Penn State alum. So I've met. I remember I told you I worked security for the Devin Bush draft. Got to meet him.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson. Hey, is Deontay Dropson still out there? Or did he get picked up by somebody? I think he got picked up by somebody, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
You know what? If he's out there, hey, why not? Can't be any worse than what you had. Some of what you got now. Scotty Miller's back. The Steelers signed him this week. They brought him back, Skowronek back. So we'll see where the wide receiving room goes this year.
Yeah, now we just got to play some of those guys.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if Van Jefferson's still on the team. We'll see where that goes. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts out there for the Steelers this year. No one knows what's going to happen. But I like some of these other quarterbacks in this draft too. I think you're going to see a lot of them go in the 4th round, maybe 5th round. The Steelers are looking. I told you that kid from Louisville. The one mock draft has them taking that kid from Minnesota, that Brosner, in the 7th round. I don't see them going that high. They're going to have to do something in the 3rd or 4th round if they can't get anything in the 1st round that they want. The only quarterback that of substance that I see is Jackson Dart, and I don't think we'll get Shadir Sanders. I don't think we'll get him at all. I don't see Jackson Dart slipping to us either. So we're going to have to go in the 3rd or 4th round and get a quarterback. What do you think?
Really, for me, it depends. If you draft, if you bring in Aaron Rodgers at 41, yeah, you got to draft a quarterback.
I don't think they're bringing Aaron.
If you bring Russell Wilson back at 36, I think you got 4 more years left. You don't want to go that high on a quarterback. Like I said, if Russell Wilson came back, I would take Milroe.
Yeah, I would. Yes, absolutely.
You can develop him and at the same time play him.
Yeah.
Let him run around and do. But I think that Russell Wilson could have 3 or 4 more years where he keep his body together. He's out there working out now. He's probably the only NFL quarterback that works out all year round. I think it's because of his baseball pedigree.
Yeah,
that he
exactly.
Just, keeps that arm. He keeps that arm in good shape. And I think with the DK Metcalf and Pickens, they both like to catch that moon ball. So that would benefit.
Yeah. I don't know why the Steelers just didn't make a decision and say, hey, look, we're bringing Russell Wilson back. They lost Justin Fields. They should have immediately signed him. He should be immediately signed. There should be no waiting game, no jokes, no, you know what I mean? Oh, well, we'll wait after the draft and then start scratching your head. And then after the draft's done, you say Russell Wilson's gone and who you stuck with next? You know what I'm saying? I don't want Rodgers here. I mean, as much as he could bring a lot to the team because of his experience, I just don't want him here. You know what I mean? I don't think he would want to be here anyway. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if you bring him here, you got to bring Nathaniel Hackett here. You got to bring such and such here or whatever. You know what I mean? And I don't think the Steelers are going to be willing to do that. I really don't. So, final thoughts before we go, Smoking Jim.
Man, this was a fun show. Great show, man. Great job, the
Thank
booking
you.
machine.
Thank you. We'll see you next week. Remember, Thursday, 4 to 6, we'll be here. I got J.D. Wyatt set up. He was supposed to be on the show today, but his work schedule was conflicting. He covers for Southern Fried podcast, which they cover football, and he covers the Carolina Panthers. He will join us next week, and then also I'm working on getting a Buffalo Bills guy on from Amped Up Sports, and I'm also working on getting on Ryan Neal from Amped Up Sports to talk about the New Orleans Saints. So next Thursday could be interesting, and one more. If I can get 4 more, that'll break our list down to getting it close to the 32, all 32 teams. Get somebody on here to talk about all 32 teams. So, let's see here what AC Knight has to say before we leave. He said, just want to shout out to SpaceX, just brought home our standard astronauts. Oh, well, yeah, thank you for that. I didn't hear about that. I haven't watched the news because I'm busy doing the show. So there we go. All right, I will be joining you Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Well, actually, I'll be joining you tomorrow for the Ralph's Opinion Show. We'll be on at 7 o'clock on our normal time tomorrow, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms. And then Saturday's show, the Sports Rap Show, I'll be joining you from Ocean City, Maryland. So I just want to let you know that as well. So, all right, for Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Once again, thank you for watching. Have yourself a great one. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also, please don't forget to follow me on my Twitter X platform. Thank you very much for watching. Have yourself a great one. Talk to you next week.